Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Coal Iron Task, the third book in the Unorthodox Chronicles by James J. Butcher, the son of Jim Butcher of Dresden Files, Um, and honestly, I've been ambivalent on this series so far, but this book, it like James Butcher finally manages to hook me. I've been reading these books even though I've been kind of wishy-washy on them so far. I've been reading them because I know sooner or later that Butcher mojo is going to kick in. Because it was clear from the very first book that James learned at his father's feet how to write, or how to write entertaining horror fantasy. So I knew it was just a matter of time before it really stepped in. And for me, given how compelled I was to keep reading this book, it stepped in. It's still not quite in my top tier of urban fantasy series, but it's certainly ramping up. It has all that promise, and this book made me feel vindicated in my dedication to grinding through so far. Not that the previous books are bad, it was just okay, but this one is where things get really really good. But anyway, what is this book about? So it directly picks up the story after the events of Long Past Jews, a few months later actually, and Grimsby he has a lot of guilt over his role in the events and in that book, that and the outcome that came of it. So he's searching for a way to rescue Rain from the situation that she's now in. And as part of that, he becomes embroiled with a group that is plotting to break into a mysterious vault in the a mysterious vault. And as part of his payment for helping them break into this vault, he's going to receive an object that's going to help him get some answers towards helping Rain out. So he has a lot on his plate because that operation is moving very fast, and time is coming. It's coming down to crunch time. As if that's not enough to deal with, the huntsman has a situation of his own that he requests Grimsby's help with, because an acquaintance of his, who he has an uneasy alliance with, rolls into town looking for his brother. A brother who is ostensibly human but is displaying signs of being anything but. So that situation begins to escalate, and Grimsby is kind of torn between the two. And those are the two of the three major plot lines of the book. The third one was is the one that gets you in the feels. But anyway, we'll get to that. So like I was saying, this is the book for me that it really feels like it got good. I recently made a video where I mentioned Grimsby is kind of pathetic as a main character. Maybe that's just the millennial vibe he gives off as his entire being. Anyway, this book, it really forced me to step back and realize just how much he's changed since that first outing, when we met this doofus. And the first sign that made me think, wait, I need to rethink this, is when the huntsman acknowledges the trials that Grimsby has gone through to date, and he shows him respect, not grudgingly, but shows him respect almost as an equal. That was a sign that, okay, wait, I need to rethink this. And as the story progresses and Grimsby becomes more and more embroiled in this, he does prove me wrong. This guy is not as pathetic as the person we met in the very first book. He's changed. He's grown a spine essentially where he had none before. And I'm happy to be wrong. I'm very happy to be wrong about that. The other big part of this that really starts to force that change on him is the way that James Butcher plays with the concept of family in this book. Family is a big theme throughout the book, and it comes in many different variations. We have Grimsby's childhood trauma of the fire where he lost his mom. We have the huntsman's lack of family. We have the found family that they have with Grimsby trying to save Rain, and the huntsman and the people that he's grown close to who crop up in this book, and and that kind of thread. Like he faces a situation where one of his oldest friends is about to pass away from natural causes, and he has to kind of be there to like family is a thing in this book. Okay, trust me on it. And it was nice to see because for me it added some emotional depth to the story. It added it does do more than just that. Like it does come into play in the story over the course of the book, in some pretty interesting ways. So it's not like it's included with tangentially or for no reason whatsoever. At the same time, it wasn't exactly a plot twist by the time you get to some of the revelations surrounding these things. And for me, in other cases, that also just compounded the mystery because we start kind of digging into Grimsby's trauma and his childhood his childhood trauma and the situation that led to him being the way he is, and it seems things are not as quite as he remembered, or as he's taken fact so far, and it's forcing a change on him that's going to be very interesting to read moving forward. Like just overall, over the course of this book, like James Butcher really kind of took things to the next level. Like things happen so rapidly, one after the other in here, that Grimsby literally does not get the chance to sleep, and that's kind of how it felt reading this book. Like you just go from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, almost like the only real break you get is in the story shifting to another plot, so that you're not exhausted on one. You're kind of kept fresh going straight into another plot. Like it's true thriller, pulpy action adventure style, and you gotta appreciate that. Like that's exactly what you sign up for with these kind of books, and that's exactly what you get. So there's that. But most importantly, this book is the trigger. You can call it like the triggering point for the story. Like this sets up the status quo for how things are going to be moving forward. This book introduces what's going to be the larger arc. This book, it introduces some new factions. It introduces some fascinating new facets of this world. And one thing I do want to mention about the world is that, like, it didn't quite work for me initially, but I've come to appreciate the way that James Butcher really digs deep into the lore. Like he doesn't waste time incorporating the usual vampires, werewolves, that kind of stuff. He goes much farther outfield for his monsters and their and the way that they exist within the society and the way they're portrayed. It's almost the way they're incorporated is almost like the supernatural way. If you know that show, you know what I mean. Not that they all pass as ostensibly human until otherwise thing, but it's kind of to that level. And at the same time, there's no like magic just set inside, just conveniently covering up all this crazy stuff from the mere mortals. Like regular human beings do exist in this world, and they're very much aware that these other things exist, but they trust in the department and their auditors like Grimsby to keep them well away from them. Well away and segregated. So I kind of appreciate that aspect of it, more this book than the other ones that I've read previously. So there's that. But yeah, like overall, just a really good book, really entertaining book. Like you don't expect much when you pick up books like these. You get what you sign up for, and I got what I signed up for. I'm quite happy with it. And given some of the mysteries that were revealed, like some of the questions that were raised in this book, and some of the mysteries that are beginning to get unpacked and these kind of things, like I'm already looking forward to the sequel to see where things go. And if you're a fan of this series, I think you're really going to enjoy this book. If you're not a fan of this series, it might be a good time to jump on this train as things begin to escalate. And of course, like I said, this at the end of the day, this is Jim Butcher's son. Like he's not going to go wrong with this. I would be very shocked if he manages to go wrong with this. Yeah, and that's kind of my thoughts on Coal Iron Task. Really entertaining book. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.